Welcome to the Midlife Pilot Podcast. We are glad you're with us. What is it like to become a pilot in your 40s and 50s? The challenges are unique for those of us in midlife, but so are the rewards. Hosts Ben, Brian, and Ted talk learning to fly, growing as pilots, and the joy of flying to destinations. The purpose of the podcast is not to teach, but to share knowledge and experiences of being a midlife pilot. Join the Midlife Pilot community and listen in every week. We are not CFIs or particularly intelligent, so if you want to learn how to fly, talk to anyone else other than the hosts of a podcast. Even this intro was too challenging for us, and we used a robot to do it. Okay, checklists are complete. Let's get the show started.
Hello and welcome to the Midlife Pilot Podcast, where we share the experiences and challenges of flying in midlife. Whether you're a seasoned pilot, training for a rating, or just thinking about getting started in aviation, we like to think of the podcast as your aviation companion and your weekly dose of aviation inspiration. My name is Ben. I'm a pilot with an IFR rating and a commercial certificate based in the metro Atlanta area, flying a Cessna 182, we like to call the beast, that currently only has 5 cylinders right now. Joining me tonight, my friend, a private pilot in Nashville who does have his tailwheel endorsement. He lives in the home of the Bachelorette Super Charlie, flying a Cherokee 180 we like to call Lucy. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Super excited.
Did I even say your name?
I think you did, but I don't really care.
Okay.
I don't think anybody else does.
That guy.
Nobody.
That guy.
It's fine. Hey, look, and by the way, there's a lot of exotic vehicles, I think, that have 5 cylinders. So maybe that's maybe that helps.
It doesn't, but thank you for trying.
All right.
The effort is noted. Also joining us tonight, sport pilot extraordinaire based in Portlandia, flying a flight design CTLS that some air traffic controllers call it that weird airplane. We like to call it the Egg. Good evening, Ted. How you doing?
Hey, good evening. I'm doing really well. Yeah.
It's awesome.
71 degrees outside, and it'll be terrible by the weekend. So Pacific Northwest weather is great.
It was cold and rainy here, and I couldn't be more thankful because when your plane is an annual, you don't care about what everybody else wants to do. You just want to be the weather to be crappy.
I like it.
So, is there when can we get into your annual, Ben? Is that going to be kind of almost our topic?
This is
can I ask you questions now?
We'll get into that in a minute.
Okay.
Let's take a beat. We want to remind everybody May 2nd through the 4th. I just had a brain cramp. I was thinking 3rd through the 5th. No, that's not right. It's May 2nd through the 4th at Tango 82, Gillespie County Airport, located in Fredericksburg, Texas. Will be the Big Texas Send. We'll be publishing an email this week to all of those that have RSVP'd, just kind of giving you an update. There's not a lot of big changes, but we will be doing a live podcast Saturday from 4 to 5. The good folks at Tech Aero are granting us some space in one of their hangars. I think we're going to have about chairs for about 50, 55 people, somewhere around that. So we did that specifically to boost our egos. So maybe there'll be a standing room only type vibe. And, that's about the only opportunity we'll have for that. So join us. We'd love to see everybody there. We're getting really excited about it. It's inching closer.
It is.
Outside of that, we'll talk about what we've been up to here in a few minutes, but I thought maybe we would go ahead and do the belly scrubbing.
Let's get that done. I by the way, I've and we'll get into this, but when you haven't really spent a lot of time underneath your plane for a while, and then you get under there and you're doing it becomes like I don't know. Your house, you have like the one side of your house or whatever you just kind of don't go to a lot, where it's like you see all these things. You're like, oh no, there's vines growing, but belly scrub, housekeeping. We are grateful for you all making this the best pilot community that we know of, a positive space where we share everything from training experiences, share personal minimums, tackle ownership challenges, review flight plans, and best of all, make new aviation friends. Connect with us. Join us in our Patreon community. from $1 a month, or do the one-time annual Patreon, or however you want to do it. You can access exclusive content, including check ride debriefs, killing zone conversations, which are now sanctioned by Mr. Paul Craig himself, which actually felt pretty good. And more. Of course, our Discord. 10% supports Freedom Aviation Network's anti-human trafficking efforts. Please go check them out. They're really continuing to do great things, and great organization to support, fly for, do things for. Watch us live on YouTube Mondays, 8 p.m. Eastern. Share your stories with us. Midlife Pilot Podcast at gmail.com. We read all the messages. Send us your feedback. You might hear it on the show. We definitely respond. And for everything Midlife Pilot Podcast, go for the community, the feedback, the merch, the dad hats, all the things, and more. MidlifePilotPodcast.com.
Thank you. I do want to make a quick comment, Ted, before we get to our new supporters and the spotlights. I'm still kind of buzzing a little bit from our chat with Paul Craig. We've we've revered him based on the books that he's written, and I'm really deep into his memoirs. But he was a really fun hang. He is one of those that you just want to go sit in a hangar, kind of like this podcast. Just go sit in a hangar, and before you know it, 6 hours will have gone by.
Yeah,
it was a great experience. And so, if y'all missed that, if you're out there in the podcast land and you missed that one, definitely go check that episode out. It was really good. It was a lot of fun for me, at least.
That was a landmark episode. I mean, he's unwittingly written our kind of backbone sacred text, Right. And he's just coming in here like, oh, these guys seem like, I don't know, pretty nice. We're just like, I keep your book on my desk.
It's fully the Wayne's World. We're not worthy. That's kind of how I felt. But he sets you down pretty quickly that, hey, we're just out here having fun. So great guy.
Yeah.
So Ted, why don't you let us know who our new Patreon supporters since the last episode are?
Yeah, I'd love to. So at the Landomatic level, we have Joseph Z. At the Hershey Bar level, we have Mr. Richard. We have Mark H., not to be confused with Mark Wendell Geek. At the Beast level, we have Chuck K., who upgraded. At the Caps level, we have Linda T., who upgraded. That would be Mom. And I appreciate Mom at the Caps level. I wanted to mention the love of aviation and flying goes way back. She reminded me that her dad parked his RV at Reno every year, basically under the turn. So he did not miss a year of the Reno Air Races. So I guess, kind of come by that a little naturally. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mom.
Yeah. Got some highlights.
And all the those that signed up. It's
absolutely. Yes.
It's always just a little overwhelming for us. But we appreciate it.
Yeah. In Discord land, we had some talk about ownership, buying a plane, all of that. Some talk about pricing instrument panel upgrades, and big discussion of basically everybody sharing pictures of their motorcycle and noticing the overlap, which is very true. There's significant overlap between the two.
I kind of feel like I missed the memo that I was supposed to ride motorcycles before I got my pilot's license. That's how I felt. I mean, I was reading it and everybody was just jumping on. I was like, holy cow, I did miss out on something.
I used to teach motorcycle safety, and I could pick out pilots and military based on how they taught. Interesting. We talked about some guys' low oil temperature issue. There's a lot of people that kind of contributed and talked about the various things that it might be besides the vernotherm.
Let's make a quick clarification. It wasn't just some guy.
It was some guy
on the internet that's his handle. So
some guy.
Also, I don't know about you, but it seems to me like people love to just say vernotherm.
Vernotherm.
I still don't think it's an actual part. I think it's just a made up term.
It's a very mysterious part.
Yeah. Yeah.
The vernotherm is like what you send your 6-year-old son to go find while you need a little time alone.
I was thinking of Vern from the movies. What series am I thinking of?
There's a lot. Ernest.
Ernest goes to camp. Ernest.
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
that's what I was thinking.
By the way, Ernest Goes to Prison was filmed.
In your prison.
1 mile, less than a mile from my house here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also the Green Mile.
Yes. Before we forget, Jess, congrats on passing your private check ride. It was a great debrief. And Mountain Rad Matt had their first solo cross country, which is always fun. Huge. I would say basically the same thing, which is that's when you start to relax and you're worried that you're forgetting something. It's like both relaxation and sheer terror that you are relaxing a little bit. So I always love that. You got some feedback for us?
Brian, do you want to get it? You want me to?
Where is it?
It's in the...
What are we doing here? Podcast?
Right where it's supposed to be.
Listener feedback with my name on it. Oh, I see. Well, thanks for serving that up. I hadn't scrolled down that far. And now I'm totally with it. Yeah. And by the way, for those that do that solo cross country, I mean, that balance you're talking about of the terror and the sort of wonder and relaxation of it, it really is one of the most interesting times in the whole process because it's the height, I think, of imposter syndrome, is that stage. You know, it might, some people think of it as like your first actual solo, but no, it's really the first time you get, because there's such a huge difference between your instructor getting out after you've already been in the plane with him and then doing, or her, and doing, you know, a few landings. Totally different thing when it's like, I'm just showing up at the airport.
Yeah.
I'm just going to get the plane and I've got keys and then I can just get in it and then start it up. And then I just tell somebody I'm going somewhere and then I go and now I'm doing that thing. Like there's no babysitter.
Yeah. It's like, I don't think I'm actually stealing the plane, even though I'm taking it. Yeah.
For me, and there's some remnants of this every time I fly, there is a mission in front of you, which is your solo cross country. And when you successfully complete that mission, there's this overwhelming sense of satisfaction for your first one. But there's always, and for me to this day, is that when I've gone somewhere and come back for a cross country or whatever, I've once again completed a mission and there's just a higher level of satisfaction when you get done with it. So
absolutely. I still feel that way when I fall asleep at the wheel with autopilot on a long cross country, you know, and then I wake up and I realize I've been asleep for like a half an hour, you know, and you just kind of shudder for a minute. Like, oh, and you're like,
hey, I want to remind you, we do have a DPE in the chat.
Yes.
No, I don't fall asleep.
Mr. McKittrick here said, on my cross country, when my tires chirped 100 nautical miles from my home base was one of the best memories of my entire life. Yeah, especially if they only chirped once on your landing, you did well.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
Well, and so the imposter syndrome is a good segue for our feedback. So let's get into that. And this comes from our friend Cheapskate. So Cheapskate, here's what Cheapskate had to say. And this is following the Paul Craig episode that everybody must go listen to. Just finished listening to the episode with Paul Craig and the story about the VC-25 sharing the pattern with the 152 got me in the feels. I don't think I suffered too much from imposter syndrome when I was a student. I think I understood that all students were in the same boat and accepted that I just had to keep learning. When I was a new pilot, it was the same deal. I knew I was new. I knew that I was new and accepted it. Now that I've been a pilot for about 2.5 years, but still only have about 120 hours and only fly about an hour a month, the imposter syndrome is really hitting. I've found that now, while I still tell people I'm a pilot within the first few minutes of meeting people, I often follow it up with, but I really don't fly much. Or something like that. When the VC-25 pilot told the student solo pilot, welcome to the club, I realized that we're all in the same club. Thank you for all the great content you guys have been putting out. Cheapskate. So I always want people to, we've talked about this before, the notion of the tendency of comparison in aviation and amongst peers and all of that. And I just always want to say, look, you are a pilot and cheapskate. You are a pilot as much as anybody else is a pilot, and you've survived the rigor that it took to become a pilot. And for you to even keep it going by flying 1 hour a month, of course you can do better. And of course you should be concerned about currency versus proficiency and all of those things. But you're doing that, on some, whatever level you can, with all the things you have going on and all the family and all the stuff. And that is the ultimate struggle, the definitive struggle of the midlife pilot. And that is exactly why we are here. So I always want people to know that this show, this podcast is for exactly those types of people. I mean, you're not an imposter, even though I can understand that you feel like it.
Yeah. That's why I try to talk about, there's no comparison here. We're all doing the same thing. I think Brian has a phrase about that. Comparison is the thief of joy.
I didn't make that up though.
No, you didn't. You get a good video. Okay, yeah. All of a sudden he's worried like he's getting credit for this statement that's been around.
TM.
Yes. Yeah. Ben? Yeah.
I'm going to hit a comment real quick. But yeah, actually I just lost my train of thought. I know what I was going to say. So Ted, Brian, I'm going to ask you this question. When does your private pilot certificate expire?
Never.
That's exactly right. You pass the test, you're always a pilot in my book. We did get a comment from, and want to give a shout out, Eric West. Speaking of cross countries, I got my first clearance into a Class Bravo a week ago, Fort Worth, Foxtrot Tango Whiskey. He said, I'm talking to the big boys. That's a big deal when you're able to do that. I remember my first time getting cleared into Hartsfield's Bravo. And you are like, you're dialed in. It's pretty intense the first time that you do that.
It is. You spend so much time being worried about when you're studying, when you're coming up as a student, you know what the rule is for entering a Bravo, and
this must be the week of Bravos, because our friend Wendy comments, I did my first Bravo clearance flight last week too. It was intense and it felt great. Yeah. So
just saying it feels good, cleared the Bravo.
Yeah. So that's awesome. We did get one other comment on Spotify that it's just a real short one, but just wanted to, it's also in relation to last week's episode with Paul Craig. This came from R.C. Chonish. If I'm butchering your name, you didn't give me a lot of choices here, but so he said, so looking forward to the release of the 3rd edition of Killing Zone. I'm 55 and had my license for 8 months. Can't ever learn enough. Enjoyed the podcast. Thank you. So we appreciate you leaving us that comment on Spotify. So thanks.
And so, for those who didn't catch that episode, and we trust that you'll go back and listen because you should, but maybe Ted, you can elaborate on why is the 3rd edition so special?
Yeah. Well, the 3rd edition is with the new publisher. And so he pulled when they changed publishers, the publisher took their intellectual property offline, so they can't sell new copies of it. So it's not available for sale right now. And so there's kind of this waiting period. It's not like, we're just selling out the 2nd edition and the 3rd will be coming right after it. So there's that. And as he said, there was a big update on how aviation has changed in the last 15 years since he did it, which is what makes it great to read the new editions, is how he's covered that.
I thought about taking my edition of it and putting tape over the word killing and just changing it to danger. I couldn't. I thought I got a huge kick out of the fact that was his original working title. Of course it was. Like, why did so that was great.
That is awesome. Well, tonight it's information whiskey, so we're just going to just kind of catch up on what we've all been doing. It's kind of a weird time. The other comment that we made that was, we started going down the road that it seems that all three of us seem to have aligned our airplanes going into annual at the same time. So we're all in the same cycle.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to go any further. But Brian, you got your annual. You are done, right? Clean bill of health.
I mean, what's done, right? Let's talk about what done is. Done. I mean, is anything? I mean, empirically, is anything ever done? Is the universe done expanding?
I think when you die, you're done.
Yeah. I don't think so, man. I think
maybe not.
I think
we're getting all religious now.
Yeah, we turn into the plane of our choice, and so when your stardust takes form into an airplane, and then you are an anthropomorphized plane, Ben, what plane do you wish to form your stardust?
Well, I want
into?
Our chat. We've got a lot of people in the chat. Just go ahead and put it in the chat when you go to the next plane, so to speak. Tell us what plane you're going to be.
Yes.
And I am probably just, I'm probably going to be a 182. I'm just going to be a workhorse.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a lot of abuse, but I'm going to take care of my passengers.
And I like it. And if it fits, it ships. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, gosh, the annual, we are very close. And so look, I understand we're mainly here to talk about your annual, but I'll just talk about mine for a minute. We are so lucky with ours because we have our great friend Chuck the mechanic who just takes care of us. He's one of these guys that absolutely either really likes us or pities us or both, but he does not have to be doing what he's doing, and he's been taking care of us. So I learned so much from him. We do owner assisted fully, and it's just and I've done this now. This is the other thing. It's like the first time I did, I guess this is my third owner assisted annual. Certainly the last one was more involved. They keep getting more involved, and I've just been learning so much and just getting more confidence. And there's just so many little things you just learn by doing. So I don't know. I've really enjoyed it. Chuck's been great, always imparting all these wisdoms along the way. And we have come through it pretty darn well. There's just a couple of little odds and ends, throwing getting the brakes or the brake liner on one side, just little stuff. I mean, we've come out really, really, really well. Compressions were really good. And the borescope stuff was a little bit kind of, I don't know what that kind of looks a little bit like pancake batter. What's going on there? I don't know. But he's paying attention. And, I think that overall our engine may be running a little bit rich. And we've had that challenge before. We had some carburetor work done a couple of cycles ago. And it might just be that like a float adjustment or I don't know, something.
Have you checked the Vernotherm?
We
I don't even know what it does. I just thought I had to throw that in there.
Yeah. I have a Vernotherm keychain, so, I mean, there's always the little things you're monitoring the health of the engine. Nothing's ever perfect, but compressions were good. Everything looks good. If you see more slanted, scoring type of lines inside your cylinders and less vertical lines, then it's good. Yeah. Happy to see all that. And it also gives you opportunity to do a couple of those little things that been meaning to do. And I love, having the seats out to be able to just really dig into scrubbing down the interior and all that and just getting all the plane funk out of there. So, anyway, we're about done. And, I think we'll be good to go. Our friend Erica is asking, did Lucy ever live in a colder climate? For those who don't know, our Cherokee's named Lucy. Did Lucy ever live in a colder climate? Kind of. Historically, and well, from an engine perspective or just the plane in general?
I would assume the engine, since that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean it's been around a little bit. We got a little bit of Iowa. We got a little bit of this and that. But and it gets really cold here and in Bowling Green and all that. As you know, Erica, being up in Kentucky, it's not averse to freezing cold. And honestly, that's the colder weather, kind of frothy, kind of moisture meets, like you from your blow off, it's like,
that oil pH. Yeah.
There's definitely some of that, and you never know what to do with a winterization plate around here because it's sort of, it's not warm, but now, I need like a Bluetooth winterization plate.
Yeah.
Anyway, everything's been really, really great. I mean, I can't complain at all. I mean, I think we're well on our way to hitting, TBO, knock on wood, and then some. And we're just doing the thing, which you're supposed to, the one thing you need to do is fly your plane.
Yep.
And that's what we've been doing and we'll keep doing and do more of. So I'm very pleased. These things I know can go completely sideways really fast, and we're not really in the best position to take on a lot of sideways. So it's always a massive relief. But all that being said, there'll be something else, and there'll be something else, and there'll be something that comes up right after the annual, because that always is like, you can't touch everything and it not be something. But I'm happy to get this done now and get it done well before Tango 82 and that whole adventure. And so I'm feeling good. So good. I'm sorry to say, Ben, I'm feeling pretty good, but
don't be sorry.
We're gonna have to hear about your story.
Well, hang on though, because you shared some pictures of some vents on your plane that you'd painted.
Oh yeah.
What were those?
Well, Ted,
louvers, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah, so they are just these on the bottom cowl. There's on the Cherokees. There's two. They look like the floor vents in your HVAC from a house in 1975, but they're curved.
Yeah.
Those things. So that they had basically no paint left on them, except for a few specks. And I found from the previous group, they had a couple of rattle cans laying around, and I thought, I wonder if they matched this. And I was like, well, it kind of doesn't matter. Our paint job is not, and
it's underneath. Yeah.
Yeah. So I painted those and the over the struts. And, so did a little bit of a rattle can artistry, some Home Depot certified mechanic signed off on, aerodynamic enhancements, and, it'll last for probably about 3 months, and I'm super excited about it.
As long as you know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
So for those in our audio only audience that aren't watching the live stream, which by the way, Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, you can go to youtube.com/@Midlife Pilot Podcast and check in. We've got a really fun group tonight. So Brian asked the philosophical question, what would you come back if you were an airplane? Our friend Flint is a E1000. Not sure what he's referring to there.
Epic.
That's right.
Nice. Yeah.
Flying Stampede is coming back. And I like this one, the Beechcraft Staggerwing.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Seth Lake, I like this one too, a Stearman. It doesn't get much more classic than that. Erica at Gilbert Aviation. In my next life, I'd like to be a Cessna 195.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
That's the top of the heap of the Cessna line, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
It's the proudest looking machine you can see.
Oh,
Ramp Appeal and Cessna 105 is, if you look up Ramp Appeal in the dictionary, you will have a picture of a Cessna 195.
I think part of the 195 appeal also is that it's so towering when it's just sitting there that it puts you back into a childlike perspective of looking up at an airplane.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got to go in one when we were in Oshkosh the first time around, and it's a hell of an airplane.
Oh man.
We should get one, guys.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right.
We're going to crank up a new
Patreon level.
And Patreon. We have a new Patreon level. For $500,000, we will be your slaves for whatever you need.
That's right.
One Dull Geek says, what airplane do I hope I come back as, and what airplane would I likely come back as are very different. Thanks for overthinking that one Dull Geek.
Stinson. Yeah.
Our friend Bit Shifter, Stinson V77. So that's what we've gotten so far. Again, I'm gonna stick with mine. 182 is what I will definitely come back as.
I would come back as a C-130.
That's a great choice. Yeah.
C-23.
123?
No, what was that your dad flew?
He flew C-123s and C-130s.
123s. Okay, that's what yeah.
Yeah.
You're more retro. I think you would be the C-123.
Perhaps, yeah. Maybe a little upgrade.
Little upgrade. retro mod.
A C-123 with a HUD. But yeah, I mean, it's actually kind of funny because I was asking my mechanic just in the hangar small talk. I was like, if you could purchase any military aircraft for personal use and you won the lottery or whatever, money is not a concern. And I also gave him the caveat of, and you wouldn't have to be the guy to work on it. What would it be? And he was actually kind of like, I don't know. I can't really think of anything. I was like, what? I can think of 100 things. Alpha Juliet, Globe Swift. Yes.
Strong call right there.
Yeah. Mr. Tarantelli says, make that an AC-130, which is the heavily armed version of the C-130. Yeah. And, you know what? Erica's coming in saying the same thing. What's great about the C-130 is it's the just the utility truck of aviation. It's like, want to transport stuff? Here you go. Want to put people in it? Yeah. Here you go.
The military beast
on it? Here you go. Just bolt it all on. So yeah, it's the beast very much. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can do some wild approaches.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah.
So the beast, we got a report back, and all cylinders were upper 60s to mid 70s, with the exception of number 2 cylinder, which was 40, and it was.
And you specify this is Continental.
This is a Continental IO 520D. We're probably 1,800 hours on it, on a 2,000 or 2,100 hour TBO. We've already replaced 3 of the cylinders. We've lapped it. We've lapped the valve. We've staked the valve on this number 2. And I don't know why, like 5 people have asked me, did they do the compression check when the engine was warm? And the answer to that question is yes. Our mechanic is top notch. We've used him since 2018, I think it was. And he knows our plane inside and out. And I think part of the problem is I jinxed myself. Lord Alpha Juliet was gracious enough to follow me over. Our mechanic is not at our home airport. And it's just the neighboring airport over. So it's, a 5-minute plane ride. Followed me over there, went inside, dropped the keys off, said, she's running great. So, and he said, well, we'll see what we can do about that. And sure enough, low compressions on one of the cylinders. That's okay. The question is the engine shop, whether we're going to overhaul or put a new one in. I'm not sure at this point in time. We don't know, which probably the rings, we can place the rings and we're probably good to go. The question is how backed up is the engine shop?
Yeah.
The expense is going to be what it is. It's for me, the time, how long is it going to be down?
Yeah.
So, sorry, Alpha Juliet, I followed you. We actually did a formation flight. That was like one of the more recent.
For the audio crowd, Alpha Juliet is asking, wait, who followed who?
Yes.
Now,
and thank you.
AJ privately shared some footage of that, and and you actually shared to me some Flysto of that. This was great to compare those two. But what I liked in AJ's video is the two of you sat in his plane and before he took off and debriefed how the flight went over as the formation, and that's just a pro move. I was impressed by that.
Yep. He gave me good scores, except for when we got on the ground, I thought he wasn't, I didn't know if something was going on with his radio, and he said to take a call to let me know when I'm clear. And I took that to mean that he wants me to call him and me clear. And so I kind of spoke for him on the radio, and that was That was not a pro move. So, but it was a learning experience. Probably need to learn how to communicate better. But with that being said, 4 years ago, I would have been pretty stressed over this, having the plane being down for this. And I don't know, there's a fine line of being patient or just being numb to it, desensitized to it. And I don't know which one I'm at. So I really don't. There's such a fine line between those two that you're okay, whatever. But I don't really feel that way. I am finding other ways to keep myself occupied. Some chair flying in ways that we can maybe get into a little bit. But, I've progressed in my aviation journey to where this is just what it is. And if I don't fly for 3 weeks, there's a pretty good chance that I'm going to live.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You were telling me you drove down to Rome to see your son, and that's a lot more painful to drive than to fly. And that didn't bother you terribly much.
Yeah. So my middle son is involved in his colleges. I'll just go and say it. He goes to Georgia Tech. And as a extracurricular, he is involved with the Georgia Tech Racing Club, where they build a car on a budget, a race car, autocross car on a budget, and they compete against other clubs, colleges around the country. And so at Rome, they have a runway that's permanently closed, and the airport allows them to set up an autocross and test the cars. So, and I actually had my younger son with me. And I mean, again, 4 years ago, I may not have gone because I didn't want to make the drive knowing that I would normally be able to fly. But it was a great time spending with my son. That was part of it. But there was a Young Eagles event going on at Rome while they're testing their car. And there are planes after planes taking off and landing. And there was a bunch of RVs. I saw an Ercoupe. I saw a lot of different classic airplanes.
Wow.
And I don't know if it was a Young Eagles. I know a Young Eagles event was going on. I don't know if these classic planes were taking them or whatever the case may be. Yeah. But
when I met you down there last time, it was kind of dead.
It was very dead. Yeah. But this just happened. This was on a Saturday. We and I met on a Sunday.
Did you go to that weird burger place?
I tried to convince Evan to go there, but we had to bring food back for all the crew members of the club. So we didn't get a chance to go back there.
What's that place called?
It's called Sam's Burgers and Deli.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the place with the bomber in front of it, or it's some airplane.
It's got the front half of an airplane coming out of the front of the building.
It's made out of like 3 planes. And then for whatever reason, there's also a flying VW bus as the main sign. Yeah.
And there's a Gulfstream kind of off to the side, or a mock-up of one. Yeah, it's just kind of weird, but
it's wild.
But it's kind of my overall point is, so I started training in 2017. This is 8 years into this journey. But I hear stories, I believe he's still in the chat, BitShifter. We're going to be releasing a debrief with him. The dude waited 17 years to get his private pilot license.
Yeah. What a story he's got.
He's got an amazing story. So I encourage everybody to listen to that one. But it's just funny to me how I guess maybe I'm just getting old, but it's just not it doesn't create as much stress for me now, not being able to fly as it did 5 years ago.
Well, let me just say something, Ben. I admire how well you have veiled and hidden and suppressed your anxiety and how you are in this state of pseudo comfort and ease and acceptance of the whole thing. It's really inspiring to see, Ben, just how
Brian, here's what's going to happen. You're going to come down and you're going to get in the plane with me when it comes out of annual.
Yeah.
And you're going to hear me cuss like a sailor for 30 minutes going, why the heck did this take so daggum long? And it's just going to, all that inner turmoil that I'm veiling right now is just going to come flowing out.
For a while there, I really think, for the first couple of minutes, I really believed you. And then I just thought, no, this is let him cope in whatever way he needs to cope right now. And if this is what he needs to do 7 years, 8 years, I'm not affected by this anymore.
What a great poker player.
Is there a hole in the wall behind you? Like, where is that? Is that new?
Yeah. You were saying
that's something.
What a great poker player is what I was saying. You can cover all of that. Yeah. All that.
Well, I will say, and I teased this a second ago, the chair flying that I've been doing, part of me is using this time is to reshift my gears and get back into study mode.
Yeah.
I have reached out to our friend Ben at Music City. What's that airport called? XNX.
Music City Executive.
Who has the beautiful Cessna 140 that's in our intro video. It is my goal to get my tail wheel prior to the fly-in. So excellent. I got some work to do there. I will say, Lord Alpha Juliet pointed out that whenever I try to schedule a tail wheel, something happens to that plane. I've tried twice, and 2 planes have been in and out of service during my scheduling of that aircraft. So,
and that's very diplomatic that you say they're out of service.
Yeah.
You could use that as blackmail. I'm going to schedule a flight with you unless,
Yeah.
So there's that. And then there's also, I do have a goal of getting my multi by the end of the year. And I have found a program that I'm going to use. It's an accelerated program, and they do provide you with a lot of materials up front. So I have all that. And so now it's really kind of time to I'm just trying to shift gears. My brain doesn't have the elasticity as it used to. And I'm trying to get back into that. I have to get into a study mode.
Yeah.
Is that the shop that Wendell Geek has done some stuff at? The one that AJ's done some stuff at? None of the above?
It's not the one that AJ, I don't think it's either one of the, I think this is a different one. Wendell Geek and AJ are in it, but Centerline Aviation is who I'm going to be using.
Cool.
So I don't know. I can't remember who they used. So I can't answer that question fully.
Yeah.
It's not so this is not some people would argue it's not a true multi, but I'm sorry if it has 2 engines. It is a multi. The Skymaster,
Yep. 337. Yeah.
I just discovered, let's see.
Well, let me say this. The Skymaster, you don't get full multi-engine. It's a specialized.
I know. I know. It's not, it's its own multi.
Yes.
But I've been really enjoying, if you guys haven't seen the YouTube channel, Tom Air, Canadian, flying this Skymaster around.
Yeah. I have.
And I've learned so many things about the Skymaster, and it's just been such a neat, what a weird, I don't know. I just love those anomalous, experiments that somehow made it to production for at least some period of time,
Yeah.
I'd like to retract my earlier comment that you would come back as a C-123, because the 337 has got your name written all over it.
It's pretty weird. Yeah.
Really cool too, though.
Yeah. There's a lot of just practical things about it that I kind of appreciate. Just the idea that when you are taxiing and when you are taking off, at least beginning your takeoff roll, and you're putting your power in, you use the pusher in the back. And the reason why is that's the only way you know it's really working, because you can't see it.
Yeah.
I just thought that is a trip,
Yeah, so much different than a multi that's going to slew sideways on you.
Right. I just don't you think that there's Skymaster guys up there, and ladies just being like, do you remember the green machine?
Yeah.
Did you ever have a green machine?
We had one growing up. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's what I feel like I would want to do if I had a Skymaster with the alternating stick controls. Just be like, look, it's fine.
Man. Yeah.
But God, the green machine was so cool. That was the Skymaster is the green machine of airplanes.
We've got quite a few comments I want to hit, but Alpha Juliet says, all Skymasters are multi. Not all multis are Skymasters.
Okay, but technically that's true of any plane, right? All Apaches are multi, not all multis are Apaches. So, I mean, that phrase works no matter what.
He's right.
Yeah.
Also from our listener, the Ugly Cub. I don't know why I always messed that one up. My annual, actually, condition inspection is in November. I have considered switching it to warmer weather month so that we can do it more comfortably and with the hangar open. Silly idea?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. In fact, I being a person that's now done a few owner-assisted annuals, and we just moved ours from the summer to March, and even that was the having to have the door closed because the weather was bad. You can't see things as well. I don't know. You're more relaxed. You're less. It's the same as like a pre-flight in the cold. You know what I mean? You're gonna rush whether you mean to or not. And so I think a warmer weather annual is a great idea for that reason.
Yeah. And Ugly Cub said, I'm thinking of starting an Ugly Club as well. So, yeah. So that would be great for Ben because that would be Ugly Cub's Ugly Club. I can't even say it straight. Yeah.
Well, and I qualify in a lot of different ways, but.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to get that wrong no matter what you say. Yeah.
Also, one more quick one. And then, Ted, I want to hear about your overhead brake. Our friend Michael G., a very earnest thank you to the hosts and live audience for my weekly dose of Midlife Aviation Connection. It is, in fact, like a visit to the hangar. I'm grateful.
Yeah.
And I got to say, Michael, that's our brand. That's what we want to be. We want to be that group that you hang out with at the hangar.
We just don't have the best stories, but that's what we count on the chat for.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Michael. And I'm still trying to figure out how to get down to New Orleans, and I think that it's going to happen here pretty soon. I'm going to be looking to do that on the way or on the way back from Tango 82.
And Terry, I've already promised Terry that there'll be a stop at Lakefront. Again, to your point, either there or on the way back.
Yeah, that's my current plan is on the way back, which is the wrong direction, but it doesn't matter.
Maybe we'll do a little mini meetup at Cafe Du Monde.
As soon as we make a plan, it won't happen. But if we just kind of keep doing like this.
Okay, let's just kind of think about it. Let's just keep thinking about it.
And by the way, Ben, the only anxiety I have about your annual is that you're my bad weather ride.
Your phone a friend.
Yeah. What are we going to do if you have to come rescue me?
If that happens, and especially so I have an airplane. That's good. But if I don't have an airplane for whatever reason, I'm going to then demand that you do the third option with me. Since if both of our airplanes are down, I'm going to drive the MR2 down there, and we are going to be in the loudest 2-seater, tight, little tiny doorstop of a car, and we are going to send it at 5,000 RPM for 13 hours.
Can I just say that's the nuclear option?
Yes. Yeah.
We'll get incredible gas mileage, but we'll have no hearing left.
That's exactly right. Too funny. So Ted, you've been flying a little bit. And,
speaking of 5,000 RPM, yes.
Yeah, speaking of 5,000 RPM.
Just another
which
day
is idle.
Ted. Yeah.
That's idle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Managed to get up and meet, didn't know he was going to it, but I met friend of the show, Mark T. We met at the smallest CIFRA, which is VUO. It's a Pearson. Small CIFRA, second oldest airport operating whatever in the U.S. Same thing. So we flew in there for a wings clinic, and he pointed to an open space for me to park in, which is fantastic. So I did that, and then I jetted down to the coast, climbed up and over some clouds, and had a good time just climbing and then dropping back in down there. Saw an Epic E1000 when I was down there, and I think it's actually the factory Epic, which is interesting to see. So yeah, nice to get out and do a little bit of flying. When I was coming back, traffic was insanely busy. I was on flight following, as was a twin DA62 or whatever, 42. And we're just getting call outs, keeping this controller super busy. Mark saw the the ADSB, and he said there was a hornet's nest of planes. And as all that was happening, I heard an RV making their way into the pattern and declaring they were doing the overhead brake into the landing. So that's exactly what you want to hear from an RV is, dropping into a busy pattern and doing overhead. So they probably did a great job getting out of the way. I'm sure they did great. So, but it's always great when you hear overhead brake on the frequency.
Which was what my pattern entry originally was at Daniel Field when we were talking about that a couple of episodes ago.
When is ForeFlight going to add that as another procedure?
Option? Yeah, I like it.
Are you sure it's not?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think that's what the teardrop really is.
Is an overhead brake?
Yeah. That is awesome.
So and I go into annual in about 2 weeks. So doing it early in the month. I've never done it, but I have a squawk list that I've started, which is basically things that I can't personally or legally fix. So just a couple of little things that I want the mechanic to help me with. And so it'll be good. Be good to get it in and really looking forward to afterward. There's a, what was it? The mail route from 100 years ago. Airmail airport in Wyoming. And the guy's been restoring it. And, so I actually looked at my route that was going through Utah, Wyoming, Colorado, and realized I was taking the exact same route as the airmail route from 100 years ago.
So your planning just coincidentally lined up with what was the path of least resistance.
So I put 40 points in ForeFlight to get there. There was all the coordinates, and it just overlays perfectly, which makes sense because these are underpowered planes that aren't going to climb up and over the mountains. Yeah. And so that gave me some confidence that I've chosen the correct route.
You could have been planning their routes back then.
yeah, exactly.
Maybe he was in a previous life.
The difference is I'm not going 10 miles and hoping that I see that concrete arrow on the ground. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Now, Brian, the other thing that's happened this week, you released a book.
It's hard to call it a book, but it is a book, but it's not a
compilation.
Book. We try to do these. We always have these. We have non-event events for this podcast. We have non-episode episodes, and I write non-book books. I just had a pretty decent collection of written works that many of them I narrated in some way as videos on the YouTube channel that I have, along with other aviation stories. But I just some of them were truncated or cut to be a part of a video to support a video. And I just thought, well, I've got these kind of short form essays, a collection of almost 20 of them. And I just felt like they needed to be, I don't know, just packaged and honored in some way to just kind of get moved through my creative throughput. You have to do that, right? You got to clear the desk of your mind. And the way to do that is to kind of duly process the things that you have, that you've collected. And so that was what I chose to do. I would have loved to have done something more, pronounced. So I've been fielding a lot of questions over this book the last week or so, meaning, is this just an ebook? And I say yes. Because, publishing a book and paying someone to lay out everything and all, I have all this photography that I want to couple with. I mean, I have a really nice book that I could have made or that I wanted to make, but I just thought, I'm just going to get the words out. It's really just about getting these words out, and maybe the absence of the pictures in some way will serve it better. Or something like that. But it's just my reflections on at various stages. It's a little strange because it's not it's a sort of broken chronology. Some things are fast forward. Some things are, when I have this many hours or when I have this many hours, but I'm talking about various experiences and kind of looking at things through a kind of weird sort of philosophical lens. And I really just wanted to process the book is called it's called Make Small Corrections. And that's the thing that my dad always said, and I've come to learn posthumously. I've gotten to know him very well through becoming a pilot, because there's a way that a pilot's mind works and a way that they think and the way they express themselves and the way they handle situations and other aspects of life. So for me to come around after he's gone, my dad was a pilot, and then here I am becoming a pilot in midlife, it really opened up this door to understand him kind of even better posthumously. And so I just wrote things about that, but there's also things just about creativity and ideas and stuff like that. So yeah, I packaged all that and I put it out into the Amazon world, and you can order the ebook, and then it says Kindle, but you can get it, I think, in any form device or whatever. So don't be scared if it says Kindle. I forget who it was. I'll have to go look, but somebody sent a photo capture of, they're like, I found my old Kindle and I bought your pulled it down. And it was just crazy to me that, a sort of OG Kindle is quite the artifact now.
It is.
With a keyboard. Yeah.
It does have a keyboard. So I'm going to say this right the first time. The Ugly Cub makes a comment. It was a great read. And I will echo that. I have read most of it. Brian did provide Ted and I with a little advanced copy for us.
Which, by the way, that one's not the real one.
No, but
it actually is. But you got something, yeah.
Well, I've downloaded it. It's in queue.
Yeah,
but if you've ever seen any of Brian's videos, that's a taste of what you'll get when you get this book. And I've always been a big fan of your videos, just how you relate the artistic side of aviation, and how you express your feelings that seem to be congruous with everybody else when they're going through their aviation journey. I think you capture that better than anybody else on the internet. And so it's a shame to me that you don't have 500,000 subscribers, but what do I know? I'm just a redneck in South Georgia.
No, I appreciate that. And then also really what this is about, as much as it's nice to have done this, I've been looking to do more writing, and full circle. That's what I wanted to, when I was a really young kid, that's what I wanted to do. And then all these other things all my other pursuits have kind of followed all that. And so it's really a way to sort of returning. I was telling somebody, but I was just thinking, writing to me is very easy. It doesn't mean I'm great at it. I'm just saying I'm not afraid of it. And when you're spending all the years that I have building these laborious projects of like making records and mixing records or making videos or editing videos, and you guys know how that goes, and telling stories, everything's just loaded with all these complexities. So to go back to just a written page is kind of like a vacation. And so that's nice. And then really what this was about is I actually have a real book, and I'm not saying this is not a real book, but it's not a real book. I mean, it's a collection of essays. It's whatever, whatever. It's real, but it's early stage. I really have an aspiration to actually write a very serious, actual, real book that is from its inception planned as such. And the only way that I could go about doing that was to clear my plate and just get everything processed. And some of these essays, I can't say where yet, but some of these, the other cool thing about having it be an essay format is that these things can get parsed out in smaller forms and still live as their own. Right. And so there will be some larger aviation syndication of some of these essays that will be coming that I'll let people know.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys, people expressing interest or being enthusiastic. It's a little strange. I mean, it's kind of like your first cross country, putting out a book of essays. It's a little bit of imposter syndrome, but I don't know, whatever.
You've checked the box, you've done it. So now you're an author.
Look, this comment from Ugly Cub, he says, after reading it, however, I don't think I'll be visiting Nashville anytime soon. Okay, so I actually don't really know why he's saying that. Ugly Cub, can you elaborate? Because does that mean that just you might run into me, or?
I think it probably has more to do about the airspace.
Yeah.
See, my thought is, because I can't remember if it's in one of those, but it's the, I am just an advertisement of myself.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. I have a whole essay where basically I just kind of trashed my own town, or sort of like what it's become. I didn't mean to culture is weird, and Nashville's even weirder in terms of what it's premised on and what it has become. And that is why you missed it tonight, Ben. You didn't say it, but you just said from Nashville. But it is what I've done.
Super Charlie. I did call it the Bachelorette Super Charlie.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
All right. Well, please go back and we'll review the tapes. Oh yeah, I did. Oh yes, I did mention tourists coming to vomit in our streets or whatever. Okay. Okay, that's going off the rails. This is not okay.
Yeah, let's pull it back in. Come on, guys, tighten it up.
If that hasn't sold this thing for you guys, I don't know what will.
Yeah.
I mean, the word vomit now is it right here in the chat. So
right. So
it's
Ted,
a cultural thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ted, you got a couple of things you want to touch on before we wrap up?
Two short random things to hit on. First is our friend Peter T. Talking about my taking my airmail route across the Rockies. He said, maybe you can carry a couple sacks of mail, cut your costs.
Yeah.
Okay, just don't tell the FAA, because as a sport pilot, no way. The other thing is that I had to say, you all keep talking about belly scrubbing. And I think about every time you talk about the belly scrub and all that, if your plane doesn't burn oil or consume oil, your belly stays clean. I only occasionally have to clean underneath my plane because I never have to add oil to it. So just one of those weird differences.
It's one more flex he has. He burns -2 gallons. His gas tank grows fuel while he's flying.
It's regenerating. It's got
regenerating gas, and now there's no smudge or anything on the bottom of his.
The only thing I have to say to that, Ted, is, have you checked your oil?
Every time. Yeah.
Okay.
Every time.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
I don't want you to be like, oh, I'm sorry. Correction from last episode, guys.
Yeah. This will become the next It's Always Fuel, right? Like, yeah.
That's right.
The guy who
it's always oil.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, fellas. Anything else for the good of the order?
No, but I really appreciate everybody being in the chat tonight. It's really awesome.
Great crowd tonight. Don't forget, you can engage with us. You can send us an email at midlifepilotpodcast@gmail.com. You can go to our website at midlifepilotpodcast.com, or you can join our Discord and send Brian a private message and tell him whatever you want to tell him.
Yeah.
Ben, you all right over there?
No, I think I may be stroking out a little bit.
Okay.
When you were reading the comments. Yeah.
I was reading the comments, and it's really hard. I've been pretty good the entire episode.
Just remember, you're actually hosting this thing.
I know. I'm actually. So I do have.
You are flying this plane.
Yeah.
I have some wisdom to impart. And this one kind of jumped out at me based on tonight's topic. Patience is not the ability to wait, but how you act while you're waiting.
Perfect.
I like it.
Listen, we've had a great crowd tonight. Thank you so much to everybody that's been contributing. Thank you all to our listeners out there who continue to support our podcast. We really appreciate you. Signing off, episode 121 of the Midlife Pilot Podcast. Goodbye, everybody.